Hello and welcome to BW London podcast. So I'm a tiny channel and one of my most popular videos, still small, but it is the one about is biracial black, and I've had quite a few messages about it. And even though I expected people to feel how they feel, all positive, even though I expected people to feel how they feel, I'm quite blown away, because my insight into being biracial is simply because I have one Nigerian parent and one Caribbean Jamaican parent, and it caused me a lot of problems growing up, even though you couldn't tell which I was from looking at me. But I always used to ponder about how do biracial people feel. So in very small essence, I'm able to find a lot of things relatable, but obviously it goes far more deeper for biracial people. So it's a topic I've always held dear to my heart since I was a child. And I've got also a lot of biracial first cousins and stuff as well, and also now nieces and nephews. So it is something that I do consider. So my first video really is just discussing that biracial people are not black. They're made up of two people. Both sides matter, and denying one side and is often unhealthy. It's all along those lines. So I summarized just about everything, but I realized the topic has so many different more detailed stuff about it. Like I got messages with people talking about what about how you look, which I did mention in the video. A lot of it is determined by how you look, and I recently got my DNA test done, and I'm actually more Nigerian than I am Jamaican. I know people often say, oh, but Jamaicans are from Africa, which is true, but they do have their own descendant DNA, especially because my mum has Indian in her. So with that said, I found this video that I'm going to play now, and today I just want to talk about the privilege side of it. So I'm going to let the video run.
Okay, first of all, I love that a black man said this. Like, I really love that for him. Love that. Anyway, let's talk about why not all biracials are black. Anyone lighter than me, anyone with wavier or straighter hair than me, they're not black. Stop calling all biracials black. If we are not black passing, like, don't get me wrong, I know black people come in a whole bunch of, like, different sizes, shapes, colors, hair textures, all of that. But, like, not all biracials are black. Like, if you're my color, lighter, my hair texture, or straighter, you're not black. Or, like, let's just talk about when I go to the doctor, okay? Anytime I go to the doctor, they're going to run two tests on me, an African-American test and a white person test. That's just how it works. Or let's say me and my immediate white family go into a restaurant, and a black girl and her black immediate family go into a restaurant, a white-owned restaurant, mind you, a white-owned restaurant. They're going to serve me first, right? Not because I'm a lighter skin, but because I have white people with me. That makes me seem, white-ish. So they'd pick me, though, right? Yeah, so, like, I feel like it's just kind of obvious that not all biracials are black, even though the black community loves to tell us that we're black. How are you going to tell me about the privileges that I have and you don't? Like, no offense, but I have privileges that black women don't have. And that's not because I'm a light skin, it's because I'm white-blooded. So can we just stop acting like biracials are black? Because we all know that we're not. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm just convinced y'all see pretty biracial people and you're like, oh, she's black. But if I was ugly and a bitch, y'all wouldn't claim me though, right? Y'all would not claim me if I was ugly and a bitch. So the picking and choosing just doesn't work for me. I'm not black. I am biracial. I am privileged. I'm sorry, black community, that y'all don't have the privileges that, like, biracial people do, but, like, stop calling us black when we're not. Because if we were black, we would be treated like y'all, and we're not. So make it make sense, please.
So lots of things were covered in that topic, and I definitely think she had her points. There's no doubt about it. But that privilege thing is a real thing. Even the way black men treat a darker skinned woman to how they treat a biracial woman oftentimes is very different. So I think that what she says about I get an extra privilege that you don't get, but yet you're claiming me, many black people in today's society feels that way. Because also mentioned in my first video, I was saying black people claimed biracial people as black because of the era that most of us were coming from, me, myself, from the 90s. And we knew that white people do not think of biracial people as black. And, so fine, they're ours, you know what I mean? Just based on racism alone. But however, times have changed. Biracial people's identity does matter. More importantly, do you know that when you need things like a bone marrow and stuff, biracial people actually have to find their matches with similar DNA makeups? So it's a real thing. You know, your DNA makeup is a real thing. But I must say, ultimately, because then there is still the question, what is race? Because I'm sure many people know by now, race was very much introduced by white people in the 1500s when it got broken down in that way for the purpose of slavery and to dominate people. But ultimately, people didn't move in races, did they? They moved in tribes. You were from a particular tribe, and how you looked wasn't identified. It was more about your tribe, your rituals, what you do, and it's being used to exploit us, really. But like I said, this video was very much about the privileges that a mixed race person, a biracial person often experiences, and it's just understanding that we do have different experiences based on our color, and a biracial person shouldn't be forced to say that they're black, white, or indifferent. They should be happy to say exactly what they are. When they do choose to say that they are just black, obviously some people get in their feelings, some don't, but it still remains the facts of the matter. Of course they're not black. A black person has two black parents, and even those black parents are sometimes quite racially mixed anyway. But ultimately we are speaking of two black parents. When you have two solid different race dominations, that makes you biracial. It doesn't just have to be black and white, white and Indian, Asian and Asian and black. You know, there's lots of different mixes that there can be.
If you're African American and you come to my page telling me that I'm black, then you're the one with the identity crisis. If you think I'm black, you don't know what black is. You wouldn't know what black was if it hit you in the face. Even with a black mom and a black dad, you're not fooling anyone by shoving your phony black pride bullshit down my throat. If you think I'm black, then you're not black, you're ghetto white. After spending some time on this app as a biracial person, it's important that households learn about mixed races, because it doesn't make sense that kids and people are coming into society not allowing mixed race people to identify as biracial or multiracial. You spend time learning about your culture, white culture, Asian lives, white supremacy, black pride, but you don't spend time to learn about the mixed race. How could you be woke and fucking ignorant at the same time?
Anyway, thank you for listening.